Alright, you guys, welcome back to another video. So today I'm going to be doing a very different video. I know I say that a lot, but this one truly is going to be very different. This isn't actually anything TCG related. I figure I wanted to just try and do something like different and show you guys kind of like, it's not really like a day in a life type of content, but I guess like what I do when it comes to meals, because I feel like I'm just like so busy throughout the day getting distracted by like random things and going off on tangents that I get hungry like throughout the day, but I also get like very lazy and I don't feel like cooking. So anything that's like easy to make and I can make in batches and have make like 2 or 3 meals out of is definitely like a plus. I don't really do a lot of like doom scrolling. If I do, it might last for like 15 to 30 minutes, and by the time I get towards like the end, I'm just like, okay, I need to stop, like I need to like be productive. But there are 2 channels that have been like coming up on my feed lately. The first one is this like guy, I think he's a chef. His name is like Chris Cho. I'll probably like show you his YouTube channel. I don't know if I found him through either YouTube or like through, I don't know what like the Facebook shorts would be called. But there's this another woman, I don't know her name. I just referred her as Sparky. I think it was like Sarah Park or something like that. But she has PCOS, and she is, I think, pre-diabetic as well. And I like her channel just because she shows more different types of like recipes for people like myself. For those of you guys who may not know, I have type 1 diabetes, so I have to be very mindful of the amount of carbs that I eat per meal. And she has a lot of simple, easy recipes in order to just like make throughout the day. So I feel like those 2 people have been like popping up in my feed a lot, and it has motivated me to try and either make old recipes that I've tried before or try like new recipes and think of like more healthy things to be able to like cook for myself, because I'm usually very lazy. I don't want to like, even though I really do enjoy cooking, I don't like the cleanup process. I just feel like I would rather make something simple and kind of get it over with and eat something just so I like my belly's full, rather than taking the time to actually making something. But yeah, I thought I would show you guys something that I made once already and I'm going to be making again today. Alright, so today it's basically a Korean stew dish called Kimchi Jjigae. For anyone that's Korean, they've had this hundreds, thousands of times in their lives. Myself being Korean and Chinese American, I didn't really grow up with Korean food too much, so this is kind of like my way of, I guess, tapping back into my heritage and like having more Korean food and trying more Korean food. Growing up, I definitely had a lot more Chinese food rather than Korean food. So it's very simple. I have this that I made the other night. Basically, it's just leftover chicken parts from like a whole Costco chicken. I'm trying to be a bit more like resourceful now and use like the entire chicken. So all the bones and everything, I will just like throw in a pot and like cook down, and then it basically makes like almost like a chicken broth, and there's a lot of chicken meat still in it, but I'm going to use this as kind of like a base. Then I have some green onions that are kind of towards like the end of its life. I'll probably just use all the good parts. I have half an onion. You can use as much onion as you want. Tofu from Costco, super cheap. I forgot how much like you can get. Like you get like 4 packs of tofu for like, I don't know how much it is, like $5 or $6 or something. Super cheap. Trying to eat more tofu. Realize that it's expired, but it says it's expired, but I know it's still good. I like to use Spam. You can use like any kind of like pork belly or pork, I don't know, other pork parts. And then obviously the kimchi being like the most important part. And you're definitely going to want rice. So one thing I'm going to do that I think I've seen, I don't know who I've seen do this before, or if I've either heard that it's good to do this, is like with my rice, typically like you soak. A lot of Korean people, they like to soak their rice. But you know how they talk about like how you want to wash your rice until it's like clear? The cloudy stuff, what I realized from I guess like making like pasta dishes, people will save their pasta water in order to add into their sauce, and it like thickens it up. I guess I'm gonna be doing like, I guess this is kind of like the same concept where you use the starchy like rice water in order to help give your soup a little bit more body. I'm not sure if it really adds more flavor, but I'm going to make use out of this. So I'm actually going to turn on my stove now, get this all going. But I want a lot of broth. I like a lot of broth, so I'm going to actually do this twice. I'm gonna add more water and kind of just like wash the rice down again. I don't know. For those of you guys that have made this dish before, you guys will have to like let me like, is this something that you do? Do other people do this as well? I'm not sure if it really makes a difference. Like I said, I haven't made this dish very many times before. I used to do it back when I lived in LA. It's been like over 7 years now. I made this dish like a few times before. My mom used to make it every once in a while. My mom wasn't the greatest cook, but this was like the one thing that was simple and easy that she would make that I would like love to eat. It's a little, well, it can be as spicy or as mild as you want it. As long as you can tolerate like whatever, or at least that's a lot of water. As long as you can tolerate a lot of spice, or some spice, you don't really have to worry about like how spicy it will be. The kimchi itself, or the broth itself, after, like you'll see after it's like done cooking, it does look really red and spicy, but it's actually not that spicy. I feel like the red chili flakes and the peppers they use in kimchi, it's very red. It looks really spicy. It's in fact not that spicy. I feel like my spice tolerance is pretty average. Yeah, I just want to get this rice washed up real quick and started. Because it's a mixture, I've been trying to eat a bit healthier. It's a mixture of white rice and brown rice. It's more brown rice than white rice. And I realized that brown rice, it takes like twice as long to cook. So I wanted to get this started. I know people have like different ways of like measuring how much water they put. I kind of do it by, I don't know. I used to kind of like measure using my finger. They always say like to go by like whatever knuckle or something, but I do it by, I don't know. I do it by feel and how much rice I put and how it looks. I think that's about perfect there. I've cooked rice so much before already. I've been doing it since I was, I don't know. My mom used to always tell me to like make rice as a kid. So I've gotten to the point now where I just kind of know just by eyeballing the rice how much water to put. Different rices require different amounts of water, so you do need to, like when you start using like a different rice, it does, plug this in, it does take getting used to at first, but once you figure it out, then you know how much water to put. But yeah, this brown rice will probably take about an hour or so. Let me think. What am I gonna do first? Let's actually chop up. Let's chop up the green onion and clean it up. I try to always use like this flatter like chopping knife now ever since I cut my finger, which is, I mean, you see it's healed now. It looks normal, but I still don't get, I don't have full feeling in my finger still. It still feels a bit numb. So I'm just gonna pull off all the exterior parts of the green onion and cut off the ends that look a bit wilted. I'm definitely not like a great cook by any means. I feel like I've cooked mainly by like watching like grandparents or my parents cook. They haven't really taught me. I definitely would like to learn how to cook better. Yeah, I just feel like I haven't really gotten that guidance. So it was basically when I first moved out with my brother, we kind of had to like learn how to cook. And we would just make anything that was super simple to make. I think this was like one of the dishes that we kind of like learned how to make that was fairly simple. Yeah, just cut up the onions. You can do like rougher chops. You can, honestly, I think for something like this, like when it comes to like stews, curries, or anything that's going into like one pot, if you're just making it for yourself, it really doesn't matter like how you cut it. I know for certain dishes, like you're gonna want things cut proportionate to each other so that it cooks like evenly. But this is just gonna be sitting on the stove until like my rice is done making anyways, so it will be long and done. I think this only probably takes maybe an hour to make. You could cook it down longer, like especially if you're using like pork bones and stuff like that. you probably do want to cook it longer. Because my chicken is already all cooked down, and I'm just kind of using it as like a broth, I don't need to spend as much time cooking it down. It's really just to like make sure the kimchi and all like the raw veggies are essentially cooked. Yeah, if I had more onion, I would probably add more onion. I like onion a lot in my kimchi jjigae. Making sure not to cut my fingers. I feel like I have a little bit of PTSD from cutting my fingers so bad. Yeah, I'll just add it all together. It doesn't really matter. This will all just be dumped in there anyways. I should probably grab... Yeah, I don't know if I need to. That's a lot of water I put in there, actually. There's going to be a lot of other stuff that kind of goes in there. Cut open the tofu. Just make sure I drain it well. I know some people will. It depends on how you cook the tofu. Some people will pat dry their tofu, but since this is going in a stew, I don't have to worry about like all that water content cooking. I just try to get as much of the tofu water off. Yeah, like I said, you can cut your tofu in whatever size like chunks you want. I like them kind of more like medium. I think when I made this last week, I cut the tofu up smaller, and then I realized it was a little bit too small, and I kind of like it a little chunkier. So I'm cutting it up a little bit more differently this time. Yeah. This is firm tofu. You can use soft tofu as well. I just got firm tofu since it's a little bit more versatile. I can like pan fry it and cook it with like some soy sauce. There's like another tofu dish I like to make. It's like a soy base scallion or like green onion with some like gochugaru, the spicy Korean chili pepper. This is a trick that I've always done as a kid that I see people struggle with whenever they get spam. They try to get the spam out like this, but if you just squeeze a little bit, it kind of creates space on each side. Let's go over to my cutting board. Oop. And it just comes right out very easily. I'll see people like using a knife trying to like, I don't know, get it out somehow. I'm just like, oh, you don't need to do that. Eaten a lot of spam in my lifetime growing up in Hawaii. So, one of those things that I've gotten very good at getting out of a can. I don't know where I learned that from, actually. I don't know if I just kind of figured it out on my own, because I don't remember anyone actually teaching me how to do that and teaching me that trick. But whenever I see people like struggling to get spam out of a can, it's like it's very easy. It's very simple. Like you don't have to spend all that time trying to like spoon it out of there. The spam as well, I kind of like, well, not as chunky as the tofu. these are like spoonful size, like Spam parts. But I thought the water would have been boiling by now. Let's just rinse these out real quick. Throw these in the recycle. But yeah, I mean, that's basically it. I mean, the most difficult part is really the prep. Having to, I mean, you don't even have to have the stock like I do. It's really just having the water kind of like boiled up. Another thing that you can always do as well, and I did the last time, is you can actually like pan fry the Spam, or not the Spam, the kimchi with the white onion and cook it down. I feel like when you cook kimchi down, it gives it like a different flavor. But I'm just going to add it all into the pot once it's ready. I actually might add, yeah, I'm actually going to add the kimchi now. I know the pot is super full, but I want it to have that really yummy like kimchi flavor. Oh, and another thing, like kimchi wise, it doesn't really matter. For me, it doesn't really matter like on the brand of kimchi. I just get whatever's on sale. There are ones that are a little bit more different, but it's always best to use like fermented kimchi, like older kimchi. So I've had this kimchi for about 2 to 3 weeks. The more fermented it is, usually the better. It gives it kind of like that sour kick to it. So yeah, like I wish you could smell, like as soon as I opened it up, it has like a more pungent, garlicky kimchi smell to it. Yeah, you can kind of see it looks a little bit dry. I don't know how much of this I'm going to actually add. You can add as much kimchi as you want. I like a lot of kimchi. I could probably put this entire thing in there, but it wouldn't fit. Oh no. So I'm just going to put as much as I can. So I don't want this to boil. Yeah, I don't want this to boil over. I might add more kimchi like later. Another thing to do is to add the kimchi. I guess I don't have too much of the kimchi liquid in there. I have another thing of kimchi that I'll probably use, that I have already like in my fridge, that I keep off to the side and just like have with like some rice and whatever protein. But as you can see, like this is already super full. I'm kind of worried it's gonna boil over, but it should be fine. I'm gonna like just let it slowly simmer and cook down. The kimchi is gonna get super tender. All of the garlic and the pepper flavors and everything are gonna be infused in the stew. It's kind of like a soup stew. And then as soon as the water levels go down, I'm going to add all this other stuff. Typically, I feel like kimchi jjigae, it doesn't have as much water, and it doesn't have as much like filling in there. It's maybe a third or half of this amount of stuff, but I'm trying to fill up with the more healthier foods that my like nutritionist has been telling me to have more of, which she says, as everyone know, like kimchi is like a superfood. It's really healthy, really good for you. I'm trying to eat more tofu. Spam is probably not like the greatest for you, but it adds that like salty flavor to the stew. So I don't add any like additional salt or anything in the stew. And I grew up having kimchi jjigae with Spam, so it's more of a, I guess, like a nostalgic thing for me. But yeah, after this has been cooking for a while, it cooks down a little bit, I will either show you guys what the final product looks like, or kind of come back and show you like me adding everything, because it's really just as soon as the broth, the water level goes down, cooks down a bit, I'm going to start adding everything else in there, along with some of the kimchi juices. The kimchi juices just gives it a little bit more flavor, adds all of that garlicky spice in there. And another thing, oh, don't mind my dirty pan, I still need to wash that you can add. Well, I might add some of this. It's called I don't know if like taking it out of the bag, but it's basita, dashta. That's what, at least what I've heard, like my Korean relatives call it by. But it's essentially, does it say what it is exactly? It's kind of just like a soup broth. Okay, a soup stock broth. You could add some of this if you don't have any kind of like you didn't use any sort of like broth ahead of time, but I already have like a chicken broth, so I probably won't have to use this. But the one thing I'm gonna probably add some more of is, I believe kimchi already has this in there, but it's basically, let me see it. It's gochugaru, and it's just like red pepper flakes, just to give it a little bit more of a kick. Oh, that's not good. It's starting to overflow a little bit. Yeah, this is what I was afraid of. I'll have to turn it down and let it like slowly simmer. Ooh. Yeah, this is what I was afraid of. It's gonna start to get really bubbly. Definitely do not do what I do. Don't add that much water. You know, it gets kind of foamy at the top. But I will probably let this simmer for about half an hour and let it kind of cook down. Let the water cook down a bit, let it like evaporate, and then add all the other yummy goodness in there. So I'll be right back. Okay, so it's been probably about an hour now, maybe a little bit over an hour. I wasn't in any rush to really get this meal done, since I already had lunch earlier, but it's getting closer to about like dinner time now. So what I ended up doing that I didn't show was I took out some of the chicken that I had in there. Some of the chicken and bones are still in there, but I wanted to take out at least like some of them. That way I could add the Spam in there. It lowered like the water levels like slightly. As you can see, it's still pretty full. It's essentially just been like simmering, and like the kimchi is like, the Napa cabbage is all like super nice and tender now. But I want to get this kind of going along. So I guess like next step I would do, tofu is already cooked. It's pretty soft, but I want the tofu to be infused with all of that yummy flavor. Oh geez, I really did add too much water. Definitely do not do what I did. There's even some of the tofu water in there. I might not add all of the tofu, just because I don't want it to be super full again. But I'm gonna add, oh Jeez, the green onions and the white onion I had chopped up, because I want all of that flavor to be infused in the stew. I'm going to turn up the heat and try to bring it back up to a boil again. Oh geez, yeah, it's very close to overflowing again. I thought more of the water would have evaporated by now. Yeah, I might actually have to... This is what I'm going to do. I am going to take out some of the broth. I'll try to add it in later. I was really hoping to add all the tofu in there. I think if I take out some of the broth, I might be able to. I just don't want this to like all overflow while it's still like cooking down. Jeez, even after taking all that out, it's still quite a bit. I do want it to be a lot lower, but there's still a fair bit of tofu to add. So I do need to take out a good amount of the broth. Like this broth I'm taking out, it's already super full of flavor. Oh, I did add some of the gochugaru as well. I did about like 1 tablespoon. Oh, well, it's starting to boil pretty quickly already. Yeah, so I did about like 1 tablespoon or so, just to give it a little bit more kick. The last time I made it, I didn't add any in there, and I just used like the kimchi like juices and the flavor to kind of give it that like spiciness. And I found for me, it wasn't spicy enough. I wanted it a little bit more spicier. Yeah, I might try to take a little bit more out. That way I can add the rest of the tofu, because I could just like save the rest of the tofu, which actually, let me see how, this is actually pretty, actually, maybe I will just save the rest of the tofu, because like this is already a pretty chunky stew. Typically it wouldn't be this chunky as in like, there wouldn't be like this much stuff in there. Like I said, it's definitely, I have definitely more like filling in here, and it's maybe half the amount. It's usually a lot more like broth. So I wanted to eat like more tofu. I wanted more of my protein to come from tofu, but it just won't fit. I made this pot really big. I do have like a bigger pot, but I just didn't want to like put it into another pot. So what I'll do is I'll probably kind of cover it up like a little bit like that again. I want it to be, I want like some of the water to still like evaporate out. So turn it down again, and I'll probably let it simmer for another, honestly, I probably don't have to let it simmer for that much like longer. It's really just trying to get like the onion and green onion cooked, but I'm not in any hurry to eat, so I'll probably let it simmer for like another 20 or 30 minutes. I'm been preoccupied working anyways. I've been like listing, like I just got my Walmart buy earlier this afternoon, so I got like 12 of my prismatic surprise boxes and 12 of the poster collections, and I also have like 3 prismatic bundles also coming in that I was able to snag. But yeah, I'm just trying to get all of, like, I think I listed all of my magic stuff already, or at least most of it. I want to get most of my Pokemon stuff listed on like Facebook Marketplace, at least like the stuff that has gone up in value since I bought it. And then after that, I'm hoping to, if I have time tonight, which I'm not sure I will, is to crack that box open of Jumpstart Foundations and create another video about it. But yeah, I think I'm just going to end it here, because the way this stew looks now, it's essentially done. This is probably like what the finished product is gonna like look like. I'm just letting it cook down more, letting the tofu cook down, or not cook down, but to cook and get infused with like the flavor of the broth, waiting for the green onion to cook down more and just tenderize more. And then yeah, I'll probably have dinner in a little bit. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed seeing a video like this. This is not gonna be something that's regular here on this channel. I didn't want to create like another, I don't have any aspirations to create like another channel for like cooking or anything. I thought it was just gonna be something kind of cool to document and show you guys what I like to try and make for meals, in order to be able to like focus on work. And you know, something like this, it's really just a prep that you need to do. You throw in a pot and you just kind of let it simmer and cook for a couple hours. You can probably have this only like cook down for about half an hour, but I let it cook longer just because I wasn't hungry and I needed some of the water to evaporate from the stew, which it kind of slowly is. I probably shouldn't actually have this cover on here if I want that to actually happen, thinking about it now. But yeah, until the next video, I will see you guys next time.